Hi, welcome to my channel. Antoinette here from Antoinette Intuitive Tarot and Jewellery. Yes, I'm actually trying out a live because I'm short of time. So I wanted to do reflections back on the Healthy Boundaries spread that I did over 5 days for journaling. For those of you that followed along, I thought it'd be nice and fun to tell you what happened, kind of how I wrapped up and summed up my journaling, and also some books and other resources I have, which I think might be great tips for some of you to look at for yourselves. So I'm on the laptop today, so we have another completely different angle. If I look down, I'm looking at myself. So I'm guessing if I look there, it looks like I'm looking up. Hopefully this is working. Right. So as you know, I used the Healthy Boundaries spread as a journal prompt. I took the 5 questions for the spread, and although I did mine in quick time, I then used it to journal slowly over 5 days. Basically took one of the prompts each day to go a bit more in depth with, and I put them into my tarot journal, which is the Stalogy A5 half year. And you're not going to be able to read this too well, but basically that is how it looks in my journal. Sorry, peeking around the corner. And then after I did all my journaling, I did a basic reflections here. Now I like to, these last 12, no, more than that. A lot more than that. A lot's happened, haven't they, in 12 months? So definitely the last probably 2 years, actually, if I think about it. It just feels like last year didn't happen. I kind of cancelled out. So I think in the last 2 years, I have been working with the moon phases, and I kind of use the moon phases as prompts to reflect on the month, and then to release whatever it is that I feel I've accumulated as a bad habit. I kind of do a little, journaling, writing it down, meditation, and releasing it to the world, if you like, just to, rid the energy from me. And so that's what I was doing. That was my plan with this. It kind of accumulated and ended close to the full moon that we've just had at the weekend. So Sunday, the 22nd here, was the full moon. So after I went through all of my prompts, and thank you to those who joined in, that was wonderful to see you getting something from this as well. And I hope that, you're able to put things in place and follow it through. But my reflections after I did my basic journaling in here, I then have a scribble book, and I just scribbled everything down: thoughts, reflections, feelings, emotions, memories, anything it triggered, I wrote down for me, and sort of, get it out of the brain, basically. And then I came back to my reflections. So on a separate piece of paper afterwards, I wrote down things I wanted to release to the universe. And in short, I wanted to release feeling embarrassed of not fitting in and embracing my authenticity. I used to say my weirdness, but I was on a live or watching a live with Orshi and Scott from Scott-Scorpio Moon. Orshi's channel, I think, is called Drag Gorshi. Sorry, Orshi, if I've just ruined that for you. I'll stick it downstairs. I know I've got that wrong, actually. And they were celebrating being on YouTube for a year, and talking about community and things. And I was talking about being weird in the chat, and they said, it's not weird, you're a unicorn. So I'm taking out the word weird, embracing my authenticity, embracing being a unicorn in the world, basically. And by doing so, what I've written down is to make room to love myself, know myself, and to be comfortable in my own skin. So when you release something, you need to have what you want to fill that void with, because otherwise you can just fill it up with nonsense. So when you let something go, what do you want to fill it with? So if you want to get rid of a bad habit, how do you want to embrace a good habit with it? Boo bubble. Boo, boo, boo. Can't read that one. Hello, welcome. I'm just rambling, so you might not be interested. You might, I don't know. And the other one that I wanted to do while I was doing this was releasing negative thought patterns. So releasing negative thought patterns in order to embrace with ease better thought patterns for myself, ones that are a bit more kind of nourishing, nurturing, better for my own mental environment, if you like. So that's what I did with these. And as I said, put that on a piece of paper and took it outside and kind of did what I needed to do, lit a candle, and burnt it over the candle, and then had a moment's silence and just meditated on why I was doing it and getting rid of it. Now, I did mention resources in here, and Kellyanne Maddox wrote a book called Rebel Witch. Although this is based on people who want to be witchy and witchcrafty, this also is a brilliant book for kind of embracing your unicorn too, which is what I really liked about it. And in section 3, which I've mentioned in comments already, there is a shadow work piece in here, and that's where you deep dive. So if you're not familiar with how to journal your thoughts and feelings completely, especially when it brings up a negative issue for you or something that's uncomfortable. Now, you don't have to journal everything that's uncomfortable for you. That's up to you individually if that's what you want to do. And it's just something I like to do. And many people who use cards and divinatory tools like to do it that way as well. But it doesn't replace the need sometimes to go and, seek therapeutic help from professionals. But for me, I like to, so some of the questions that she's got in here to deep dive on, so with the cards, the questions in that spread, if you brought something up around boundaries, one of the questions that I liked in here is, what does this issue or feeling remind you of and why? So in your big journal, you can just scribble down some thoughts around that. When was the last time you felt like that? And then what made you feel like that? What was the first time that made you feel like that? Sorry. So when's the last time you felt like that? And when was the first time you remember ever feeling like that? Once you've got your first time, you can probably nail the crux of the issue that's created that problem for you. And then it could be, you'd ask yourself, how did it make you feel? What's the story behind it? How have you now brought that forwards with you? What's your dialogue been since that first kind of instance happened for you? And what would be a good way of dealing with it? It's like now, today, if you could go back to that person, speak to that person when it happened to them, speak to yourself when it happened to you, what would you say to yourself? What advice would you give yourself? So how can we change up what we've been carrying in our minds, the mental plate that we've laid down? So how can we change it up, and what can we take forwards from that? And those are just some of the questions that I like to use to try and change that. And then sometimes what happens is when those thought patterns creep in everyday life, just by kind of slowly introducing this, it takes a while. This isn't something that happens overnight. You can stop yourself and you can kind of stop a cycle happening. And it's really empowering, actually. That is empowering in itself. So perhaps even for me, a boundary would be putting those questions into my life better. So that's that book anyway. And the other one that I do like is my Perfectly Imperfect Life. It's the books of flow, and I have a couple of these. I've had them for many years. I haven't used this one yet because it's kind of a workbook. There are pages in here to work through. Although, to be fair, I'd probably have a separate book to go alongside this and write in that so I don't destroy the book, just so I can pass it on to other people to use without my private thoughts and feelings being in here. And it just has basically 127 different types of activities to help you accept yourself for who you are and your own unicorn abilities. And it covers things like work, adventures, home, creativity, family, body, friends, and self. It has a great introduction. And as I say, there's lots of stuff in here, even down to looking at why you never come out of your comfort zone, or what you can do to come out of your comfort zone. And it has lovely little quotes in there as well. And I use, they have the book of flow, they have a little book of love. And I use that book for bibliomancy, often to finish off a card reading. It just has a lovely, you kind of close your eyes, pick a page, and then read out the quote. And that's like, instead of an oracle card, I use that to finish off a reading and pop it in the end. I think I've kind of gone on enough for this as a wrap up to my mini series. But as I said, those of you who joined me, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you let me know in comments how you're getting on with this, and if you've managed to take anything forwards from this as well. I still haven't decided if I'm going to bring in the other 15 questions onto YouTube or not yet. I'm not sure. But if I do, I'll add it onto this series as well. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.